everyone take a seat, please? Yep. Can everyone take a seat, please? Thank you so much. Well, good morning, or I said good afternoon. My name is Jared Sherman, and I am honored to serve as Congresswoman Brown's caseworker and field representative who works with Social Security casework here in the district. We are thankful to have you here for Congresswoman Brown's OH-11 Social Security Town Hall event with former Social Security Administration Commissioner and former Governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley. Before we begin, I would like to share a few housekeeping items. First, please take a moment to silence your phones as to not disrupt the meeting. If you need to step out for any reason, restrooms are conveniently located back out in the hall, past the glass doors, and you can exit through the back doors where you entered. If you have any questions related to an issue with a federal agency, such as your Social Security benefits, an issue getting a passport, or an issue accessing your veterans benefits, you can connect with our team located at the tables just outside the glass doors, and we'll be happy to assist you. After our fireside chat conversation, we'll begin our question and answer session. We'll ask that you use the note cards that were provided to you to write your question down. When it is announced, if you have a question, you can hold your card up and a staff member will direct you as to when to ask your question. In the interest of time, we ask you to read your question from the note card without deviating to ensure that the Congresswoman and the Commissioner can answer as many questions as possible. The last question will be taken at 1:50 p.m. So, at this time, join me in welcoming Orion Bell, President and CEO of Benjamin Rose.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Benjamin Rose. We are a local nonprofit here in the Cleveland area that is focused on the needs of older adults and family caregivers. And when we were given the opportunity today to host this forum, it's very important for all Americans, especially all older Americans and their families. And so we're honored to be able to be a part of this conversation today. I have the great privilege of introducing Representative Shontel Brown, and I just say that we're big fans. She's a great advocate for older adults in the community, and again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Orion, for the introduction, and thank you to everyone at Benjamin Rose for allowing us to hold this town hall here. We really, really appreciate it. I also want to recognize my friend, our Cleveland City Council President, Mr. Blaine Griffin, who is here. Thank you, Council President, for joining us. We're in his ward, so it's only fitting that he joins us, and I'm grateful for his presence. My staff is also in the room, and I want you to know that if you're having any problems, they are the ones who can help. I'm also honored to have former Commissioner Martin O'Malley here in Cleveland, y'all. Yes. We have been talking about doing an event, and when we invited him to Cleveland, there was no hesitation. He was in. I do owe his wife a phone call, though, to explain all of this, but, you know, he's been traveling, crisscrossing the country. So let's give it up again for Commissioner O'Malley. This is someone who knows Social Security and government service from the top to the bottom. He served as mayor of Baltimore, the governor of Maryland, and ran Social Security during the Biden administration. He has been sounding the alarm about what Trump and Elon are doing to Social Security. And right now, we have Elon and his little Doge Bros trying to destroy Social Security and spread myths and lies about it. And I want to remind everyone that under President Biden, we expanded Social Security. I proudly voted for the Social Security Fairness Act, which President Biden signed in January, and thanks to that bill, of course, thank you. Thanks to that bill, 2 provisions that have been reducing benefits for millions of former public employees are now history. And that means that in Ohio, yes, over 200,000 former teachers, police officers, social workers, and public employees have seen their Social Security benefits go up. And honestly, but to be honest, we need to go even further for everyone. Let me ask the people here in this is Social Security something that you've earned or is given to you? That's what I thought. Okay, I'm proud to co-sponsor the Social Security 2100 Act. It's called the 2100 Act because it fully funds an expansion of the program from now until the year 2100. This bill expands benefits across the board for everyone. It also makes the cost of living adjustment more generous, and we can do all of this by having the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share. So right now, Bill Gates or Elon Musk only pay Social Security taxes for the first $176,000 they earn. I think Elon gets that in government contracts in probably about an hour per day. But right now, we have a White House that is trying to go in the other direction. They want to fire Social Security staff by the thousands, close offices, and send everyone to a call center. And last week, it was actually reported that they plan to move all Social Security communications to Twitter, which is owned by who? Elon Musk, of course. That's why former Commissioner O'Malley is here today. He knows all of this inside out. He's going to tell you what you need to know, what you need to do, and answer your questions. And finally, I just want to let you know where I stand. I believe you cannot deliver benefits without staff, offices, and resources. And I do not want you to be abandoned or ignored, not now and not in the future. And if you look in Project 2025, there's a lot of nonsense there about cutting Social Security. They want to raise the retirement age so that you get Social Security later, and they want to cut benefits by making the cost of living adjustments smaller. So I'm extremely worried about what else they could be coming up with. But I can tell you this. We are going to fight this with everything that we have. We are going to fight for Social Security, and we are going to fight for you. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to hand it over to none other than Commissioner O'Malley. Please give him a 11th Congressional District warm welcome.
Congresswoman. Let's give it up for one of the best Congress people, Shontel Brown. It's a great honor to be here with all of you. Can you hear this? Is this microphone working okay? We're just kind of setting up some slides and the like. Congresswoman, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you've done for Social Security. We last saw each other in an oversight committee. It went on for about 5 hours. I thought, Lord, they're calling me to the Oversight Committee. I'm not even commissioner anymore. But Congresswoman Brown was there standing up and articulating the truth. And she was such a tremendous leader on that whole WEP GPO. You know, when President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law at the end of his administration, it was the largest expansion of Social Security since, I think, 1973 in SSI. It was the largest expansion in a long time. And your Congresswoman was at the forefront of addressing that injustice of WEP GPO. So look, this is what I thought we'd do today. I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to come here. And I know that a part of this, I can kind of gauge by the applause that a lot of you understand how important Social Security is. Many of you have a really good understanding of how it works. But that's not true of everybody. So there's a lot of lies being told about Social Security, and we're going to call out the big lies today, and hopefully you might come away with some truths that you can bring back to your own tables of democracy, because the truth can defend herself, but she needs to be stated first. And so I thought we'd do a few things here, and then we'll sit down and have the comfy chair talk and do Q&A. But I wanted to kind of quickly go through a few things. One, I want to blow up some of those big myths. And then I also want to explain in hopefully plain language, because look, I didn't lobby to be the Commissioner of Social Security. It was not a card I would have picked up. And when the White House called me to ask me to do it, they said, look, full confession, it's really in a bad way right now, because after 10 years of some in Congress driving its staffing down to a 50-year low, all of the wait times have been going up as their staffing has been going down. You know, it's like a police department where you have fewer officers but more 911 calls, or a school system with more students and fewer teachers. You know, it's going to take longer to get to things. So, but I learned in the course of that year from some of the most experienced, good-hearted, and really knowledgeable senior executive people that have been making that agency run, even with its challenges. And we have here with us Michael Murphy, representing AFGE, who's the union that does the good work. Michael, thank you for being here. And now I found, coming out of the no longer commissioner, and I love that year there. I mean, what other job can you do where you're serving 73 million people a day? For Ben Husk, in a recent magazine article in Salon magazine, said that he believes, get this, that empathy is the greatest weakness in the Western mind. He actually said that. But you and I think differently, don't we?
Yes. Yes.
You and I are part of a living, breathing, self-creating mystery called the United States of America. And the heart of that mystery is actually a very real and personal thing. It is the freedom to believe and to act upon a powerful truth. The truth that we're all in this together, that we are one, that we need each other, and we have to help each other if we are to succeed. You see, because you've taken the time to come here today, that empathy is not a weakness. It is our greatest strength. Because the greatness of our country isn't measured in terms of the wealth we accumulate or the size of our armies, is it? It's measured by the care and the compassion we demonstrate for one another. To feed the hungry, to heal the sick, to care for widows and orphans, those in the dawn of life and those in the dusk of life. Every soul. And there is no more impactful program and law that a free people have ever enacted for one another as a sacred promise over the generations as Social Security. And now it is under a grave assault. And the only thing that's going to stop it is the democracy. You. We the people. I was with your colleague, Emmanuel Cleaver, and people are very anxious in the town halls. And they want to know, why can't we stop this like by next Thursday? You know, they want it stopped by next Thursday. Keep your hands off it. I paid for it my whole life. I'm counting on it. Why can't you make sure that they take their hands off it by next Thursday? And Emmanuel Cleaver reminded all of us that, you know how many Congress people there were on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with Dr. King on the March on Washington? 0. There are some moments that require people to stand up. You have the highest title in the land, so long as this land remains a republic. And we need to exercise it and have our voices heard. And some people say, oh, I call my this person or that person, but they're not in my same party, they won't listen. It's not about you so much changing their vote, it's about them hearing your voice.
That's right.
because they need to see that the people are onto this theft in progress. So let me do a few things quickly here, and I'm going to sit down and let the Congresswoman take us where we may go. But let me burst quickly a few of the big lies, okay? Going to burst a few lies, and I'm going to show you some slides as we get to the last couple of lies. So I truly believe that what's happening right now is that they are very busy, and they're moving fast to wreck the reputation of the agency with all sorts of big lies about fraud, waste, abuse. And then, at the same time they're wrecking its reputation in the eyes of enough people in the public and undermining public trust, they're also quickly wrecking its ability to serve the public. Cutting its staffing by a greater amount in a shorter period of time than Social Security has ever suffered in its long history. These are some of the top lies, all right? We'll group these under fraud. It's all about fraud, they say. It's all about going after fraud. But you know who the only person is creating fraud at Social Security right now? It's Elon Musk, marking people as dead when they're clearly not dead in that database. But here's the big fraud lie number one. Big fraud lie number one is that there is a zombie apocalypse taking place. All over the United States, the Walking Dead are stealing your Social Security benefits. And at first, Elon said some of them are 150 years old. Not to be outdone, because these people lie like others chew bubblegum. Not to be outdone, Donald Trump said they're actually 300 years old, which would have meant that some of them came here for the establishment of Jamestown. Not true. Doesn't happen. We get automatic alerts. We have contracts with the 50 states and the 50 territories. Whenever there's a recorded death, we get notified. Funeral homes also notify us. If you're not billing Medicare over a certain age, we suddenly get notified of that. It's automated. Could be a miracle, but more than likely something else has happened. And then so many people call in with third party. You know, somebody in my family died, I want to report it, stop sending the check. So the zombie apocalypse, not a thing, gang. Isn't happening. Not true. You know, we might be late about 800 times a year, and it might take a month or two to catch up, but there is no zombie apocalypse. It's been audited every year in, year out. Inspector General's not true. Second big myth, not true. I know I'm talking fast. Is illegal immigrants are stealing your Social Security benefits. They are milking the system, and that's the only reason they come here. Point of fact, here's the truth. Illegal immigrants, so-called, are prohibited by law from receiving any Social Security benefits. And if they're working here outside of legal status, they can't even earn credit to ultimately become insured. But they do contribute $25 billion for the rest of us that they'll never see a penny of. Third big lie. 40% of the people calling the 1-800 number are fraudsters. This was directly from Elon Musk, our co-president. He said, are fraudsters who are stealing direct deposit accounts day in and day out and nobody does anything about it. Not true. His math is off. 8 million people call that 1-800 number, but you know what? Only 1 out of every 3,100 is a fraudster. If you're doing the math in your head, that's 0.00032. So not true. Second big set of lies that are not true. These go to finance. So lean in. I don't have great slides to do the finance thing. You've heard it's a Ponzi scheme, right? No, Elon. It is not a Ponzi scheme. It's been going on for 90 years as a pay-as-you-go program. People working pay in, those same dollars go to pay beneficiaries out. And it's gone on, thanks to the good work of people at Social Security, for 90 years, month in and month out, without an interruption, even during the pandemic. Ponzi schemes don't last that long. So no, Elon, it is not a Ponzi scheme. Now, Bitcoin might be a Ponzi scheme. Not Social Security. Social Security is going bankrupt. You've heard that one? Social Security is going bankrupt. No, Social Security is not going bankrupt. In fact, Social Security can't go bankrupt in any way of the sense that you or I understand that word, because this is why. Social Security operates on a 75-year actuarial forecast. Every year there's a report. We send it up to you. I know every member of Congress reads every single page, but it is a 75-year actuarial projection. How many of you operate on a 75-year actuarial projection? You know? Nobody here? I don't operate on that either, but Social Security does. And that is why every 30 years, 40 years, Congress has to make some adjustment because the dynamics change. Maybe a recession intervened, lasted longer than we thought. Maybe, here's one that they had to adjust for back in 1983. The baby boomer generation. You're all much younger than I am. I'm a baby boomer. You're a baby boomer too? All right. So ever since our parents came home from the Second World War, fell in love, and started having lots of kids, we've known that that big demographic bubble is coming. And so in 1983, they said, you know what? We're making the adjustment on the 75-year forecast. So we are going to intentionally build up a Social Security surplus reserve in the trust fund. And it is that built-up Social Security surplus reserve that you usually see the big, scary headlines about for the last 10 years, saying Social Security will go bankrupt in 2035 unless Congress acts. The headlines aren't true. It is true that that fund is being depleted sooner than the baby boomers are moving on to their eternal reward, but that's a solvable problem. And what caused that fund to be depleted sooner than they had thought in 1982 was actually changes to the tax code after 1982 that exacerbated income inequality, and as the Congresswoman pointed out, gave a huge windfall to millionaires because when it moved the income out of that bracket to which Social Security applied, fewer dollars came in. So that's why Congressman Larson and others in Congress, Congresswoman Brown, advocate, hey, higher earners should start paying into Social Security again. It's, most people think it's not right that somebody working, driving a bus in Cleveland pays in their entire year into Social Security, but somebody like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett stopped paying into Social Security 2 seconds after midnight when the ball drops. That ball hasn't hit the ground in Times Square before they've stopped paying into Social Security. So this is the way it actually works. So the year before I came in, this is the one I have committed to memory. Social Security, people working and paying into Social Security paid in $1.3 trillion of the money they earned into the multi-generational system. Social Security paid out that year $1.4 trillion. Well, where did the difference of $100 billion come from? It came from that intentionally built up surplus reserve. So now instead of $2.7 trillion, it's now $2.6. I know you want me to wrap up, but it's great stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
So, I truly believe it's probably, I can't answer your question. I know some of you are probably wondering, why would they take a program like this and want to drive it into the ground? But I think it has something to do with that $2.7 trillion there. So this is what they've done, which leads me to the last myth, really, which is that it doesn't work and it never has. Not true. And so let me show you some slides and sit down and we'll continue the conversation. This one slide kind of says it all. Another one of their big lies is that federal government hiring only goes up, 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 up. Not true, not true, not true. The blue graph is us. We the people, at least those of us that age into a pay status or because of a disability become a beneficiary. So this blue line are the beneficiaries. And you can see that's going up, 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 up. Right around 2017, so-called level funding forced Social Security to reduce staffing every year. So when the president asked me to go there, their staffing was at a 50-year low, and their customer base was at an all-time high and getting higher every day. Like McDonald's, the billion sold, every day it's higher because more and more people are becoming active beneficiaries. To the big lie that Social Security is just wasteful and inefficient, not true. If you compare this big insurance company, back when it operated well, Social Security's overhead to benefits paid was 1.2%. That's now been driven down to like 0.77 of 1%. But when it operated well, 1.2% overhead to benefits paid. Compare that to a private insurance company, Allstate, 19% overhead to benefits paid. Liberty Mutual, Liberty Bibberty, 23% overhead to benefits paid. And last year, this is productivity year over year, even with their staffing reduced to a 50-year low, the men and women of Social Security increased productivity by more in 1 year than they had in 10 years. And that's audited. These cats are real good at keeping track of numbers, even if Elon Musk isn't. So, in that year, we started doing what you would expect your federal government or any government to do. We started getting stuff done. We gather every 2 weeks, focus on 8 different focus areas. You know, the wait time on the 1-800 number, the effectuation of retiree benefits, disability, initial disability determinations. And we started making progress. We'd adjourn after 1 hour, go to the follow-up room, we'd have the after action. And this is one map. They never post this one anymore. We put in customer service, satisfaction surveys. So these are the catchment areas for the 1,211 field offices, many of which Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to close, showing the aggregate level of customer satisfaction. The colors are the international colors of green to red. You know, green is good, red is bad, just to give you a sense. This is the average speed to answer on the phone. You can see that around the beginning of last year, the average was 42.5 minutes. They got that down to 12.8 minutes. And now it's going in the wrong direction because of what's happened lately. This is retiree effectuations of pay. The goal is to get 85% of people paid within 2 weeks after applying. They hadn't been above 85 since like 2018, but they worked at it all last year and they got it up to 87%. For them, it was like running up a downward moving escalator, you know? This is what's happened lately. See that last part? That's when the Musk and the Doge people took over. Going in the wrong direction, going in the wrong direction fast. These are the initial disability determinations. More people die awaiting initial disability determinations than ever before because of the big backlog that had grown for 10 years. We got over the hump of that backlog and had it moving in a better direction with policy changes and other things. But I assure you those wait times are going back up again because of the cuts to staff that also affect those state DDS offices, which are federally funded. This is a good news story. These are the ALJ hearings, the administrative law judges. Social Security runs the biggest adjudicatory body in the free world, 1,300 administrative law judges, who now Donald Trump says are at-will employees that he can fire at will. But they got the average time to a decision down from 405 days to 277 days, and that's never happened before. So, in conclusion, and anyway, that's what that map looks like too. That's when they started. And the goal was to get to green. The dark green means it's 270 days. So finally, this is what's been happening. It's not good news. The best news I have for you is this, that the checks are still going out, that there are dedicated people who are hanging in even with the hostile work environment, and that Congress, I know this for a fact, are hearing more and more people call them up and either complain that they can't get the service they paid for or complain that we're allowing these guys to mess around in a program that works, and we want them to take their hands off it. So members of both parties, I know for a fact, are feeling that, and it's important that they feel that, because time's not on our side. These are the things that have happened in the last 45 days. They put their own acting commissioner in, actually replacing a career civil service acting commissioner, he had initially been like a GS-15, 5 down. Sorry to have my backside to you. But I'm about to go in the left to right time frame, and then sit down, I promise. So this guy was caught sharing data, personal data, with people when he shouldn't have, so they put him on administrative leave. When the career person who actually had the qualifications to run the department would not reverse the decision, the DOJ people, Donald Trump, Elon Musk says, well, then you're going to have to move aside because we're going to make him the acting commissioner now. So with that, he's done everything that they've asked him to do. He's their puppet acting commissioner. They immediately fired a lot of the A-plus players, brought them in and said, you're fired for cause, and tell everybody else in your 163-person division to put their stuff in cardboard boxes. The woman he told that to was the head of the Office of Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity. Don't need you anymore, fired. The Office of Customer Service Transformation, tell your people to put their stuff in cardboard boxes, we don't need you anymore. And then after creating that spectacle of people hugging each other and crying on the hoods of their cars with their cardboard boxes, the next day they announced to the agency, joyous news, we have to reduce staffing by 7,000, but we're going to pay you to leave if you leave right now. And they offered cash payments, not only for those that are retirement eligible, who they pay for the entire year with your money if they stop working right now, but they pay other people $10,000, $5,000, $20,000, and you've seen the effect. So they've driven more people out of the agency in a shorter period of time. All of those indicators of timeliness and customer service, which were going in the right direction, are now going in the wrong direction. You're seeing intermittent outages in the IT systems, not yet that base kind of COBOL foundational part of it, but all of the applications on top of it. You're seeing them go down with intermittent outages, they call them. Those intermittent outages are now becoming more regular outages, and they're lasting for longer periods of time, and ultimately that will cascade into a situation where there will be benefits interrupted for some period of time. I don't have like a meat timer on this, when I can tell you exactly when that's going to happen, but I think it'll happen sooner than people anticipate, because if any of you like me had an old car as your first car, if you're lucky enough to have a first car, you know old cars, you have to maintain them. And that computer system, which has served us, has to be maintained. And the people that used to maintain it have now been cut in half. 50% of their IT department driven out in the last 45 days. So make sure your voices are heard, educate your neighbors, don't let them take the big lie, and thank you. Appreciate the time. Thank you. I'm going to go back to just leave the first one on.
Well, that was a very thorough presentation. I was going to start off with some questions, but out of respect for your time, I know you guys probably have questions ready to go, and we have a very short window. So is there anyone in the audience who would like to be the, I see the lady in a white, someone in a white hat first. Okay, all right.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley and Congresswoman Brown. My name is Pat Frost Brooks. I have an online account for my Social Security, which I can check when it's up, but my husband does not. My husband does receive Social Security check, and it's through direct deposit, but he doesn't have an online account. Is it necessary, or should he make an online account? And then what documents are needed for that to be set up?
So he receives it by way of a check now?
Direct deposit, yes.
He gets it by direct deposit. And your question is?
Should he set up an online account?
On the MySSA?
Yes.
I would think he should. Yes. Yeah, he should set up the MySSA. Yeah, absolutely. Can't hurt. And that's how in the future, if there is a future, SSA hopes to communicate with people more through their MySSA than with these paper notices. And that shouldn't interrupt any of the direct deposit. You can set them up independently, as he already has. Yep.
Thanks, Pat, and thanks for asking the question. Pink shirt. Again, we'll try to get as many questions in as we can. Keep them short and sweet, please.
Hey, Congresswoman, thank you for being out in the streets with us. We really appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Hey, I was wondering if you could tell me when we can expect Congress, Democratic Congress and senators to get out and hold field hearings, talk about all this unlawful and unconstitutional stuff this administration is doing to shine the light on this.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. It is in the works. Leader Jeffries have started conversations about having that. You've actually probably seen some of our colleagues going into different parts of the state to hold town hall meetings, but hearings are coming soon. So stay tuned. Follow me on all social media platforms. And if you aren't on my get my newsletter, shontelbrown.house.gov. Please sign up and you'll get updates as they come. Hi, Councilman. In the blue shirt, I want to get around the room.
Thank you both. What advice do you have for a 62-year-old who's thinking about waiting until 67 to apply for benefits?
Man, this is a question my wife asks me all the time. Yeah, I don't know that there's any guarantee for any of us by merit of being in pay or not in pay. Having said that, I've also heard the White House press secretary say anybody who's currently receiving benefits will continue to receive them. I heard the word currently. And I've also heard Elon Musk say, as he courageously faced Fox News, say that if you come, he said, come back to me in 3 months, you'll see everybody that's currently in benefits will get more than they have before. So I don't know what their alternative is. I'll tell you this, though. I haven't applied for it yet at 62. I tell my wife we should wait. We haven't done that yet. I don't know that any of us is protected from anything that these cats are doing by anything better than the democracy having its voice heard and pushing back on them. So I haven't done it.
All right, I see Breon in the back.
Yes, Congresswoman. David back here had a question. Why is the new Social Security office on the west side located on the second floor of a building on Lorraine Avenue that doesn't have enough parking?
I wish I had a better answer for you. At the rate that they are attempting to try to shut down offices, I'm just grateful that we have one right now. But we will look into it and see if we can get you a better answer as to why that location was selected.
Tell me it was selected more than a year or two ago. Okay, it's not my fault.
Striped shirt, middle, yep.
Under the Social Security Fairness Act. I have not received my retroactive Social Security. When could I expect that?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm no longer in the agency, but this is what I understand. I told you that every line of service we got moving in a better direction, almost every line of service. The one we didn't get moving in a better direction is a place called the processing centers. There's 8 of them. And that's where the really tough cases go. The automated aspect of the Fairness Act, to the extent that they could do it, they did it. But there were a number of them that were more complex. I'm guessing yours was probably one of them. And so it sits in, I'm guessing it sits in the processing center. I'm hearing that that's going to take that it probably won't be until October is what I have heard. But I can't tell you absolutely definitively. I'm sure the Congresswoman's staff is very adept at this, and they can run it to ground, right?
Yes, please contact someone from our office. Please make sure you reach out to someone from our office, and we'll look into it for you. Brad, where's our next question coming from? The lady in the maroon in the back?
Maroon in the back? Yeah.
Yes.
I have a really easy question.
You're
First
good.
of all, thank you for everything that you do. Is the Beechwood office going to stay open?
Is the Beechwood, that is the hope, and that is the plan. I have to thank Commissioner O'Malley because there were conversations around closing one of the offices last year. He was instrumental, and can we please give him a round of applause in keeping that office open? So it's not, we don't have the final say, but what I can assure you is that we're going to do everything that we can in our power to keep the offices open. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I see a gentleman in a blue jacket behind the cameraman.
Yes, what is it like to know that Social Security will privatize in the next coming years, and what are the consequences and dangers of this happening?
Y'all, anybody that tells you they can predict American politics right now has to be smoking something. So, and I don't smoke. There is a school of thought that we heard Leader Jeffries articulate the other day, that there's an old playbook that you demonize, you downsize, and you privatize. I think this is kind of going beyond that. But it could be that they want to get their hands on that $2.7 trillion to do something with it, whether that's to fund this creation of a new sovereign wealth fund, or whether it's to diversify its investments. You know, some state pension funds invest part of their portfolio in the market. We've never done that with Social Security. And in fact, we're required only to invest in U.S. Treasury notes because it's the safest and the best, or safest and the least risky, I should say. So your imagination is as good as mine, but I don't think they necessarily want to privatize the actual work of Social Security. I think they want to make money on the transaction of its money. You know what I mean? That, like, the new guy keeps talking about it as if it were a payment center that we should get a percentage of whenever we, like an ATM or something. But it's much more like an insurance company. And what they're, even when vulture capitalists break up a firm, they keep the pieces intact so that they can sell them and they're worth something and they still function. Part of what these guys are doing is a clean scrape of that IT and almost torching the bridge behind them so we can't go back to it. So I don't know. There's probably some money. Somebody thinks they're going to make money by changing this program instead of properly funding it.
Breon, you have a question? First with a question.
I worked for Social Security for 25 years.
Thank you. Big round of applause.
Yes.
I also helped negotiate that space on Lorraine, and we were concerned about parking. But with regard, you remember, everybody remembers what happened to IRS. We used to get help directly from public, federal, skilled workers in a much larger way. I think that's one of the transactional things that may happen, is that we will pay for things as receivers of benefits, as applicants of benefits that heretofore have been done by skilled, highly skilled federal workers, paid for by our taxes. That's part of that transaction thing you were talking about.
All right, thank you.
Okay. My husband is, excuse me, my voice. My husband is a deceased veteran, so I received his VA benefits as well as Social Security. And I wanted to know, are they going to be cutting the VA benefits as well?
I can't speak to that with any degree of certainty. We just see that this, I love what he said about Leader Jeffries, that it's demonized, downsized, and privatized. I see a lot of things happening at the VA that I don't like. And what we know is that the veterans are a significant portion of the federal workforce. So the best thing that I can do is assure you that I'm going to continue to push back on all of those things as your representative in Congress. And the thing that I would also say that I think that is not shared enough is that it can't just be us fighting for you, the 200 plus Democrats. We have to speak up and speak out to our senators so that they know, because as it was mentioned at the top of the commissioner's remarks, everybody has a role in this right now, and this is an all-hands-on-deck moment. So please, make sure you're not just talking to our office, but you're also expressing your concerns to our senators, because they are in the majority right now. They hold a significant degree of power, and it might not change their mind immediately, but it will definitely make sure that they know the concerns of their constituents, because your voice matters.
You should call the White House, too.
Absolutely, because you've got J.D. Vance. All right. Blue shirt, yes, please.
Hold on one second.
We're going to get you the mic.
So everybody in the back.
We're talking about what Mr. Musk or DOGE is doing to the system. The question I've had since the administration has started, where is the source of his authority that we're even listening to him? How does he get to go into Social Security and ask for our records?
So I will say this, it's a fair question, but one of the things that I've never really put a lot of emphasis, I agree, I don't like that Elon Musk is in the role that he's in, but it's not different than any other presidents. Presidents hire and select, they have special employees all the time. It is the way that he is going about doing it. It is the fact that he is unconfirmed, he is unvetted, he is unaccountable. Those are the things that most concern me. That is what we should be focused on, because we look around this room, I'm the elected one, but but there are so many people here that aren't elected that do great work for me. So it's not the fact that he's not elected, it's the fact that he's unaccountable, he's unvetted, he's unconfirmed by the Senate, and he has numerous conflicts of interest. So the president does have that authority. The president does have that authority, but it's the way that he's doing it that concerns me. So I've got Brad way in the back, and then if someone can come up, we have a gentleman in a neon vest.
Okay. Is there a special election May 6th? I haven't heard it advertised the way some elections have been advertised.
Thank you for the question. So in my unofficial capacity, this is an official meeting, so I can't really talk politics, but it is an issue. It is a statewide issue. It's issue 2. It is on the ballot. Early voting has started. I can't tell you how to vote, but what I can tell you, there's a number of people that are supporting this issue, but and that's as much as I can say. So on that issue.
Commissioner O'Malley, Congresswoman Brown, I have been out to numerous demonstrations to protect our democracy. My question is this: when will you both organize and lead demonstrations in the streets where millions of others Americans are protesting to defend our democracy? When will you appear and organize?
Well, thank you for the question. Again, this is an official government meeting, so I can't really talk politics. But what I do want to say is this: I appreciate the enthusiasm, the energy, and the request. There's some things that I just am not going to be able to do. You elected me to represent you in Washington, D.C. I am the only person in this room that can vote in Washington, D.C. for the policies that you either stand for or stand against. I am the only person in this room that can do that. So you might not see me organizing a large event, because you have the power to do that. Anyone in this room can do that. It does not have to fall on me or the commissioner to organize people to get out in these streets and march and lift up your voice. But I am the only one. I am the only one that can go down to Washington, D.C. on that floor and cast a vote to represent the 700,000 people in Ohio's 11th congressional district. So that is where I am going to concentrate my energy. So if you don't see me in the streets, which I've been in these streets though, okay, so be clear. But if you don't see me, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I am doing the job you elected me to do. We got one in the back and then one in the purple.
And I'm out there a lot.
Okay, so I too am a former employee of the Social Security Administration. So now that I'm on the opposite side of the desk, Mr. O'Malley, the trial work period does not work for those of us who are blind very well. How can we get rid of that? And then the last thing I will say is that when we have these forums, please don't forget about people who are blind and hearing impaired, because we do have people in the room that can't hear, and they're back in the back of the room. And us that are blind, we can't see what's on the PowerPoint. So just be a little more vocal. That's what I would say. But back to the trial work period. How do we get rid of that, or who can we talk to about that?
There's so many regulations and so many laws that have framed these programs over the years. Some of them we were able to make more sense of, like the 15-year, past relevant work rule. But this trial work rule, this is when you're already on disability, and you take a certain amount of time to try to work, yes, and you have a certain time when that doesn't count against your, am I saying this right, Michael? That it doesn't count against your limit. It's an ongoing bit of work. I don't have a simple solution for it here, but it is, this program is always changing. It's supposed to change for the better to serve the people better, and hopefully we'll get around to that one too. So I know it doesn't work well.
Okay, and this is our final question, because we're already over time, so I hope that you'll make it short, sweet, and succinct so we can give you a good answer.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much. I've made phone calls. I've been at protests. I've seen you there. Thank you. And I want to know, are the protests happening around the country and the world having any effect on the Republicans, their Doge and billionaire associates?
So I will say this. I can speak to that. So the politics is about addition and multiplication, right? And so why I say that is because I have relationships on the other side of the aisle. When the funding freeze was first happened, I reached out to one of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle and said, hey, are your phones blowing up too like mine? Because we're getting calls from everyone, everywhere, about not being able to access their funds. And my Republican colleague said, yes, I am, and I have a call into the POTUS. And if you remember, there was some course correction. There was some reversal of the actions that the president initially rolled out. So yes, those things, that while they may not be public, they do matter. They do have an effect on this administration. And we also know that this is a man who listens to the last person who he spoke to. So, which is funny, but it's also, it could be a blessing and a curse, because if he hears from the right people, if you guys are sharing that narrative of how it's adversely affecting the economy, then that could, it's tariff freeze tags, on today, off tomorrow. So it does have an impact. And the colleagues that I work with on the other side of the aisle, they are feeling it. But we cannot, again, be the sole voices. I can't be the only one calling my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. They have to hear from you as well. So yes, it does matter. Your voice matters now more than ever. So please continue to speak up, and speak out. And I'm going to continue to show up and show out every time I'm in those halls of Congress for you. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Give it up for Commissioner O'Malley, y'all.
Hey, you're great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you for being here.
Hey, how are you? Good. Oh, my pleasure. Good to be with you. Hi. Thank you. You're courageous people sitting up front of church.
Let's distract us again. I don't know. Okay. I guess we can go. I guess we can slide out if we're done with everything. Okay. Is this whose microphone is this?
Can they garnish those for student events?
They probably don't have him hemmed up. They want to.
I didn't allow that.
Y'all need me for anything else? We good to go? Okay, perfect.
But don't trust, Google it a little bit, but I do believe they changed that policy. We slow walk that, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Thank you.